Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I want to talk to you about the 3 new world bosses and new native tier 2 characters that you can attempt to unlock, rank up, or even fully deck out as of now, as of the latest update. As you're seeing them, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Cable. Now, before I give you guys my opinions on these characters and before I discuss with you in depth each of their kind of world boss unlock mission checklist, which is kind of like a mini epic quest in and of itself, and how you can go about doing that most efficiently, I obviously have to mention that I don't have all of these 3 characters fully decked out. So parts of my opinion are not based on my first-hand experience. They are based on second-hand experience that I've gotten from fans of my live stream who have been talking to me and I've been in contact with, and then, you know, footage that I've seen of other people play with these characters, things that I've seen in the game and on forums and stuff like that, and even perhaps on the Reddit. Now, I have pretty much decked out Quicksilver. He isn't totally maxed out. As you can see, I'm above rank 1000 already, but he's got the requisite skills ranked up properly. He's got an ISO 8 set, although it's not fully awakened. He's got a pretty decent obelisk, and he does have Uru equipped. They're not fully, you know, amplified, but that's okay. But his gear is all at 20. Scarlet Witch is kind of middle of the road. She is ranked up, but her gear is lacking right now because of the gold costs that punished me. She doesn't have her skills ranked up. She doesn't have an ISO 8 set, and I haven't rolled a good obelisk for her yet. Cable I just unlocked today, and the feather portion of his upgrades is part of the reason why I wanted to make this video. The other part of the reason being because I see a lot of people asking, Cynicalex, who should I go for first? Should I go for Cable? Should I go for Quicksilver? Should I go for Scarlet Witch? Or should I go for some of the other characters like Thanos or Dormammu? So I'm not going to necessarily talk about Thanos and Dormammu, but I am going to position these characters in the wider context of native tier 2 characters, because the one thing, or rather the 2 things that all of these characters have in common is, 1, their impact is massive on the game and they're really a roster changer and amplifier, and 2, they all carry extreme costs in the tens or hundreds of million gold, as well as very rare and precious resources that, even though you may have farmed them, they can disappear in a hurry. I'm talking black antimatter, chaos northstones, more specifically phoenix feathers and Emkron crystals. But before we get into exactly which one of them you should choose, first I do want to discuss their individual missions, because I think it's important to look at these missions and look at how much it's going to cost you, whether you're doing these slowly or whether you're going to use crystals to unlock each of these characters. So I've already have them unlocked, so I can't show you, but if you haven't yet unlocked, for example, Quicksilver, you will still see the mission checklist to unlock his world boss battle, his world boss fight. And it essentially involves beating all of the other world bosses, the original Black Order and Thanos, 5 times each. Keep in mind, as it's been mentioned quite a few times, Infinity Thanos does not count towards Quicksilver's world boss unlock quest. So if you beat Infinity Thanos, it will not count towards the Thanos wins. You only can beat actually this Thanos stage. So that in and of itself would take you a total of 6 days, because there are 6 bosses. You have Proxima Black Dwarf Corvus, and then Supergiant Ebony and Thanos. You do 5 times for 6 days. But in addition to that, you also have to clear some story missions, you have to clear some daily missions, and you have to clear some special missions with hidden routes. So if you don't have hidden tickets, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And then you have to enhance an ISO 30 times. It doesn't have to be enhanced from 1 to 5. You can just enhance with 1 ISO each time and do that 30 times to a single ISO 8. So you can save a lot of your additional growth ISOs that way. And then you could alternatively unlock it for 1500 crystals. Now keep in mind, because you have 10 missions in the Quicksilver quest, it is the shortest and it is the easiest and it is the cheapest quest to instantly unlock. Every mission that you complete off of this quest will knock off 150 crystals from the total cost until it reaches 0. So on the very first day, you could do the story missions, you could do the special missions, and you could do the ISO 8, and you could immediately knock off, what is that, 600 or 450 crystals from the total cost, which is probably what a lot of people did. But if you want to take your time, it'll take you 6 days to unlock the Quicksilver quest just by doing it totally free to play, which is not bad at all. And the world boss that you're met with, Quicksilver, is a decent one. He's not too difficult. He's kind of like Corvus with more damage. And he's a great character to invest in, and I think he is probably the best choice for newer players and intermediate players who are looking for a speed hero that they can bank on, especially if you haven't already invested in Kid Kazoo, Kid Kaiju, or Spider-Man 2099. If you've already invested in both of those or one of those heavily, then you may look to the next person that I'm going to discuss with you guys. The next one on the list, of course, is Cable. And these three are not just organized from Quicksilver, Cable to Scarlet Witch because it's convenient, even though they're brother and sister. Scarlet Witch is technically the most difficult world boss to unlock and therefore costs the most crystals. But Cable might actually be the hardest one to rank up and the slowest. And we'll get to that in a minute. As far as Cable's quest go, there are definitely a lot more missions. There's twice as many. There are 20 missions in total for Cable, and some of them require Quicksilver. So if you don't have Quicksilver but you want to jump immediately to Cable, you must pay at least some crystals. Now, here are the quest requirements for Cable. As you can see, you need to get a 5-star Quicksilver. So that's the first one that if you don't have Quicksilver, you're going to have to pay crystals for. The 70 world boss clears of Quicksilver's mission is also unattainable unless you've already unlocked it previously. So that's going to set you back. But the rest of it can be done pretty quickly. Clearing 100 Dimension Rift stages is actually not that bad, especially because now we can clear ticket them. You could do 100 Dimension Rifts in a day. 50 timeline battle participations, it's pretty bad. You don't want to spend crystals refreshing those, so I would assume it's going to take most people 5 days if they're doing it the free to play way, or the pace yourself your own way. Upgrading an obelisk 30 times, again, very easy to do. You can just use one obelisk each time to do so. Combining 50 ISO 8s is a pain, so I recommend you upgrade or combine, the 1 and 2 star ISOs, because those will cost you the least amount of resources to enhance up to +5, because you need to do that to 2 ISOs before you can combine them. And it's only the combination here that counts towards Cable's mission, so this is going to be the most tedious in terms of how much clicking you're doing and how much basically inventory management you have to go through. Clearing 100 special missions, again, will take you 5 days just naturally, so it does line up nicely with the timeline battle participations. Clearing a Quicksilver world boss in 30 seconds and 15 seconds, while it is seemingly difficult, it can be done with any of the other native tier 2 characters like Doctor Strange, Wolverine, if you have them unlocked, Odin, Dormammu, etc. You can also clear it with a tier 2 Sharon Rogers if you give her someone like Warwolf or Coulson with a nice leadership like Ancient One or Star-Lord. Shouldn't be too hard. Remember, you can use 5 strikers if you've stopped using strikers because it's the cool thing to do now or because you like the way it looks. Go back to that and clear this in 15 seconds so you can unlock these. But these are the other 2 quests, or part of the quest, that you're going to have to pay crystals for if you haven't yet unlocked Quicksilver and you're making Cable your main or first objective. Then it asks you to send alliance points, and although it says the points, you actually have to individually send them to people. When you hit that send all button, it only counts for 50. So 50, you have to send a total of 300. That's going to take you an additional 6 days to complete. 5 days is for the timeline battle and the special missions. So in total, it'll take you 6 days if you ignore all of the Quicksilver missions. If you've already unlocked Quicksilver and you're moving on to Cable now, it will take you 14 days minimum, or maximum rather, because you need to clear the Quicksilver stage 70 times. But if you've already started clearing it, you're already on your way. In total, if you want to speed up the Cable quest, it's going to cost you 5,000 crystals, but each mission that you complete will minus 250 crystals from that total, so I definitely recommend you complete at least some of those, especially the easy ones that you would do anyways as part of your daily routine, like special missions, timeline battle, and Dimension Rift stages. The last one and the most difficult is the Scarlet Witch world boss quest unlock kind of process, and this one as well has 20 missions, but she costs natively 9,000 crystals to unlock, which is huge. However, for each mission that you do off this list, it's going to knock off 450 crystals. So a lot of you, when you open up the Scarlet Witch quest for the first time, it will actually see the cost of 8,100 like I did, because I already have 4-star Rogue and 2-star Wolverine. If you're very new and you don't have those characters yet, you're probably not ready yet for these new world bosses anyways, but you can stick around and listen to what I have to say because it will help you in the future. Again, you can see that the flow makes sense because Cable requires a lot of Quicksilver missions, and now the Scarlet Witch world boss quest requires a lot of Cable stuff. So you have to clear Cable's world boss stage with Quicksilver. So kill Cable with Petro 15 times. You have to 5-star Cable's Mastery, which I actually haven't even done yet, but I just paid crystals for Wanda anyways. And then you have to do things like Villain Siege, upgrade comic cards, Alliance Battle, world boss stuff. You have to beat Going Rogue 100 times, which is a lot of Rogue bios that you may or may not need. And then you're done. So again, if you want to do this the long way, assuming that you already have Cable at 5 stars with 5-star Mastery, assuming you have Wolverine and Rogue and all those prerequisite characters and prerequisite world boss stages unlocked, this should only take you 10 days because you're not going to do Going Rogue more than 10 times, or you're not going to be able to clear Villain Siege more than once per day on hard anyways. So it's a minimum of 10 days going kind of the free-to-play route. But this is assuming you already have Quicksilver and Cable unlocked, because you can't do Cables without Quicksilvers and you can't do Scarlet Witches without Cables. Overall, I think that obviously the easiest one to do is Quicksilver, the second easiest one to do is Cable, and the most difficult one, if you're going by the actual quest results and the quest requirements, is Scarlet Witch's stage. Now, do those difficulties actually match up to the character's value and what I think they're going to project and how much they're going to give you back in the game? The answer, I think, to that is no. While I do think Quicksilver gives you a lot of bang for your buck, I think he's a great return, and he's actually the cheapest character out of these three, so it does correlate well. It doesn't work so well out for Scarlet Witch and Cable. In regards to Cable, I think that while he does cost less in terms of overall materials, the materials are much more difficult to obtain because they are Phoenix Feathers and there is a cap on Phoenix Feathers. So in total you're going to need 4,400, but you only will have about 2,000 banked up, so you're not even halfway there unless you start investing money into those awful X-Men advancement packs. And it's going to cost you, somewhere around 40 million gold, which is similar to Petro. However, in Scarlet Witch's case, she's going to cost double Petro. So she's going to cost more than 40 gold, closer to 80 million gold, and she's going to cost 8,800 black antimatter and double the amount of Chaos Nordstones. Do I think that Scarlet Witch is going to give you twice the amount of value and twice the amount of strength in your roster as Quicksilver? No, actually I don't. Scarlet Witch, unfortunately, is inhabiting kind of a strange spot where she's competing with the likes of Jean Grey and Sharon Rogers for best female blast character. And I don't think as of yet Scarlet Witch has the tools that it takes to do any of those things. I think that Scarlet Witch may eventually develop into a strong Jean Grey counter, and a lot of her skills and kind of tooltip text does indicate that she should counter the Phoenix Force type characters. But for now, she doesn't have a lot of value outside of that, and that's a very niche position for her to be in. Most people are not building these world boss characters just to counter Jean Grey. Quicksilver, on the other hand, is going to immediately give you the best speed character in the game. And that's a big deal, not only for the fact that if you like this class, you're going to enjoy this character. He's going to help you for Extreme Alliance Battle. He's going to help you on any Shadowland stages that ask for speed characters or heroes. And he's just fantastic from top to bottom, and he's constantly eating hot dogs. In the case of Cable, while he is extremely expensive and he will take you longer than both Wanda or Petro, given the fact that you can't bank up the full amount of crystals, Emkron, or Phoenix Feathers, will give you a massive return given that he appears to be the new #1 blast male character. And I don't say that lightly, but it appears as though for competitive game modes, for game modes that require precision and require burst DPS and require lots of skill canceling and massive, output, he's actually better than Doctor Strange. And that's going to ruffle a lot of feathers. It's going to confuse some people, but I believe that it is true. Whether Cable is going to end up shifting the meta as much as Doctor Strange, that is yet to be determined, and I don't think he will. Remember, Doctor Strange was our first powerhouse native tier 2 who could freeze world bosses, who had, unlimited skill casting with no cooldown, who had self buffs and massive 7 seconds of immunity. Doctor Strange changed the game. Skill canceling, all of this, iframe toggling and all this stuff. Doctor Strange basically popularized it. He is the original hipster. Cable is now coming in and he's doing something a little bit different, but it appears that he's doing it better than Doctor Strange. More AoE, more skills activating at the same time in tandem. Doctor Strange really only doubles down on the third and second skills simultaneously to deal 2 skills at once in terms of DPS. It appears that Cable does that with at least 3 skills, sometimes 4 skills simultaneously. Not to mention his channeling on his 5th skill synergizes extremely well with obelisks. If any of that confused you, don't worry. It'll make more sense as you continue to watch videos on this channel. But I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know not only what the total world boss requirements are for all of these characters, but what you can expect if you're going to go down the road and the path to unlocking one of these and then ranking them up, and what you can expect your end result to be. If you really love Scarlet Witch, I would still tell you to go for her. I just am personally a little bit disappointed in her value and in her output, given how expensive she was, both in materials and in gold. And part of me does wish now, in hindsight, that I had shifted my focus after Quicksilver and focused on Cable. But of course, guys, this is only what I think, so hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think, which of these quests you're doing right now. I imagine that most of the player base has at least chipped away, if not finished, the Quicksilver world boss requirements, and they're now farming for his bios if they haven't already unlocked him. And if you have, let me know who you moved on to next. If any of these tips in the video helped you or you learned anything new, hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. No hot dog.